if you guys are 10s, of those of you who said you were 10s or ranked yourself very high, you two said you were 10s, right? Did you say you're 9? Did you say 9 or 10?
I said 10.
Oh, you said 10. You said 9. You said 7, correct? 9, 8?
Yeah.
Do I have that right? Okay.
Good memory.
10, 10, 10, 9, 7, 9, 8. Okay. So if of those of you who said you were 10, are there no women who are more attractive than you? If you're 10, you must, there might be women who are as attractive as you, but there can't be women who are more attractive than you. Agree or disagree?
Disagree.
But if you're a 10, that's the top.
Yeah, but still, there's women more attractive than me, I would definitely say.
Okay, what about you?
I agree.
By the way, this is 10 physical appearance.
Yeah.
Because I guess some people might say total package, right? But still, physical appearance, still 10. Hensley?
We're top tier in our own way. Everyone's got different flavors, but we're definitely 10s for ourselves, and that's what really fucking counts.
Don't you think it's a bit of hubris, though?
Define it.
Define hubris?
Yes.
Excessive pride?
No.
What about to other people, though? Like, taking away what you think about yourself, what about what other people think?
Why does that matter necessarily?
Well, like, what if that's the question, though?
The question is objectively.
Yeah.
I still think it doesn't matter. It's whatever we consider ourselves. Because if you walk around with the confidence of a 10, you're going to portray yourself a lot more confidently as a 10 and be closer to it. And I also think with 10, there can be a lot of room for progress as well. I think I've said this before on the podcast, but part of being a 10 is open to growth and continuing to grow and just get prettier in our mentally and physically as we get older.
But what about besides confidence? Because maybe let's just talk about guys, what they're looking for. If they're just purely looking
guys
for,
are dumb. It doesn't matter.
but if they're just looking
Hold
specifically,
on.
yeah, and hold that thought. But wait, just if guys are specifically looking for,
their flavor.
yeah, for looks, why
And
does
they'll
the
look for their
confidence?
flavor of a 10, but that doesn't mean we're any less
Right.
of a 10.
Well, it does to them.
Okay, it's all subjective. That's why you can't answer that question objectively.
Okay, but you can have some more realistic approaches too.
I think I'm being very realistic.
I don't think you are.
It's subjective.
Because
That's what I just
I don't
said.
I think that it's important that women realize that if they believe that they're all 10s and then they're going to look for a guy who's a 10, that those guys aren't going to
Our
want
number
them.
isn't based off men, though. That's what I'm also trying to say.
That's fine, but at the same time, if you want to find a dude that you're into,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if he's a 10 and you're like actually like a 3,
We actually normally, I don't think, put numbers on men as much. We just look
you
for
do,
someone.
you do.
So who are all these guys asking us to rate ourselves? Is this women? Has
Are you
ever a
in-
woman asked the men?
Well,
to
I
rate them?
wouldn't ask like someone to rate themselves, but just that's the question here, like in this case.
So what are you asking me now?
I'm not really asking you anything, but what I'm saying is that if women, not you specifically, but women have an unrealistic idea of how they look and they're inflated, like they think that they're all 10s, and then they're going to look for guys who are 10s and who are very confident and have all those
The
good
universe
traits.
will humble them. It humbles us all.
I do have, if anybody wants to potentially play a little game, I have some Neutrogena makeup remover. If that adjusts anybody's ratings potentially. Jeez, tough crowd tonight, eh? Tough crowd. Okay, my next question is then, so of those of you who rated yourself a 10, just maybe we can like try to get to the bottom of this. So is there maybe a celebrity that you can think of that you think is a 10 that you would, or just a guy that maybe who's famous that we can look up right now, who you think is your looks equivalent? Do you know a guy that we could look up who's you'd consider your looks equivalent?
A guy?
Yeah. Brad Pitt, Johnny Depp when he was young.
Get back to me on that question. Let me think.
What about you? Is there a guy who you were like, not your doppelganger, but who would be your looks match or your looks equivalent?
I'm gonna be honest.
Michael B. Jordan.
Ooh. Okay.
What do you rate
Interesting
him?
one. I personally am not that attracted to Michael B. Jordan, so I would say he's like a 8.
He's an 8
9 in my book.
in your book.
But
Who's a
in my
10 in your
book.
book for a guy?
Ooh, it's putting me on the spot.
Gideon? Gideon? Do you know Gideon?
Is that the YouTuber?
Yes, the
Oh
YouTube.
yeah.
No, I don't know him.
Okay. Any guy that comes to mind who's a 10?
That comes to mind right now is Timothy Chalamet. I don't know if that was just like a teenage crush or if that's like an actual like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a 10, you're a 10.
I mean, I will have to say, you did ask us what we would rate ourselves. So in my head, I see myself as a 10. So yeah.
Did you think of anybody or?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh.
So, go ahead, Michael.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, for you to go next. Yeah.
For me to
Yeah.
someone who's a 10?
Yeah.
Well, she ranked herself 9.
Okay, so
That's
who's your
still
equivalent?
pretty-
Yeah,
pretty
it's
high.
Pretty,
Pretty
high.
high,
up.
pretty
Yeah,
high.
yeah.
Um. Odell. Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I guess the issue I think that me and Michael have with it is that if you rank yourself a 10, in order to find a partner that is commensurate to your level of attractiveness, you need to have a reasonable self-assessment of yourself. So I think like if you have this inflated ego of like I'm a 10, then you're going to be looking towards guys who are 10s, and you're going to disregard men that are otherwise, if we come down to reality, are on your level.
I disagree because not most girls don't just look at the looks. Like you talk to someone and you want to like see how their personality is. Like I know that's really cliche, but I feel like at least me in my personal experience, I don't like look at how they look like if they're cool and I really like their personality, then I'm gonna go for it, even if like someone says like, oh, like he's so ugly. Like
You might disagree with that, but if you look at statistically like what's happening right now, guys that are not 7, 8s, 9s, 10s get like basically no pussy, and so that's how girls are basically looking. It's like they really look up, and so when we have girls that are, realistically 3s, 4s, 5s, 6, all looking for 7, 8, 9, 10, that's an issue.
why?
Well,
Why are you so concerned about
Well-
men just not finding women?
because it's an issue. Because if you look at, there's a lot of men that are out there that are actually really upset because they find, and when I say upset, these are the people that are school. These are the people that are actually
so
angry.
you're going to place their, super bad, like self-esteem on because women.
Well,
don't
I
pay
think that's a
attention
very
to
that
them.
is an extreme example.
That's
That
just
is-
like
it's
a
in a very
sad
extreme-
excuse of a
Yeah.
human.
It's extreme, but it's also like, I think in general it's a bad thing because the direction that we're headed right now is really one of more polygamy.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk straight. So right now, from everything you've said so far, you're like validating men's feelings way too much over women's feelings. You're like, no, but men, we can't find women because they think they're a 10. Let me finish. And then like you see us and then you're like, but you're like, you consider yourself a 10, but what if you're a 4? Okay, then if I go up to a guy and he's like, yeah, I'm not interested, we usually are like, all right, and we move on. But men, when you reject them, they're like so hurt about it. Like they just can't like seem to control their emotions, and then they want to place it on us like we are somehow like they are somehow the victims.
I'm not saying it's your fault, but what I'm saying is that in the current culture that we have,
It's our responsibility to
I-
aim
But
lower.
look-
I think in our current culture, lots of girls they truly believe that they deserve the best of the best.
As
What's
you
wrong
that-
with that?
should.
That's a problem.